Every woman is capable of being that porn girl in bed, but it's up to you to push them there. I've heard the stories from lots of women where, you know, some guy will be fucking them and they have their shirt on because they don't even want to take their shirt off in bed. It's like, well, okay, if you're at that level where you don't even want to take your shirt off, you think you really want to take your pants off? No, the guy looked great. He was this, he was that, charming, went back to his place. He blew his load in 1 minute. And they were like, what the fuck, man? I've known dudes with lots of money, lots of this, and the girl is still, you know, banging some nobody that's given her good dick, you know, on the side. But he's like, fuck, man. He's like, your techniques fucking worked. She went ballistic. Like, she won't leave my fucking dick alone now, right? You could have a lot of other faults that you can cover up if you can really fuck the shit out of a woman. You can't be disgusted by anything or make a big deal out of anything, because that becomes real traumatic for girls. You should have a big enough lay count that you fundamentally understand what it is you like. You got sexual alignment, you have sexual compatibility, and you have sexual chemistry, right? And those to me are the three parts to sexual satisfaction. So every guy out there is going out to buy Magnums because, God, you know, everyone wants to seem like they have the big dick or whatever. And it's like, Magnums are the worst fucking condoms you could ever use. You know, especially if you're going to do anal or whatever with a girl. High quality silicone lube is number one.
I have a special guest, the man, the legend, Eric Everhard. He is the world's top male actor in the adult entertainment industry. He's been in the game for almost 2.5 decades, been with over 4,000 women, recently published a book called Unleash Your Sexual Superpowers, which I had the pleasure to binge read this week. And also happens to be one of the nicest people you can ever meet. So glad to have you on board with us.
Thank you very much, man. Glad to be here.
Sweet. Interesting story how we met. I don't know if you remember, but we met at a pickup conference back in 2011.
Was it 2011? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 11 or 12. I think it was hosted by Casanova Crew in LA.
Yep. Casanova Crew.
You were sitting in the back. I was kind of being assistant for another dating company at the time. And then, you know, during break, I saw you just chilling in the back. I was like, hey, I know this guy, you know? So we kind of struck up a conversation. And I remember one of the questions I asked you is like, dude, your lake count's like ridiculous. Like, why are you in a pickup conference? And I think you asked me like, well, have you had breakfast or something like that? And then I'm like, yeah. And then you said, well, do you get hungry again or something like that? So
yeah, it's true, man. The hunger never goes away.
So this is cool that, you know, I always like meeting people that have some overlap with pickup, but they're not, you know, directly in the pickup industry because they have, you know, additional insights to share where it's, you know, not just mainstream pickup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally get that. And I think the other thing is too, it's like, you know, what I'm doing now with men and what you're doing, it's two sides of the same coin, right? It's like when you're dealing with a woman, you have the before, you know, the whole seduction aspect, and then you have the seduction aspect that takes place when you're naked and when the lights are off, right? So it's really it's two sides of the same thing.
Yeah, and they're two completely different skill sets, right? And
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like that's something a lot of guys are actually missing because it's a topic that a lot of pickup guys don't really talk about, right? I think a lot of people talk about, you know, lay counts or how many girls you met, but they don't really talk about like, okay, was the sex good or how did you make the experience the best possible experience for her, right?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, it's the other thing too, right? You have to look at you know, anxiety from, you know, two completely different viewpoints. You know, there's the approach anxiety, but then you've got the person that has performance anxiety, and they may not be in the same person. You could have someone that has, you know, approach anxiety, but has no anxiety getting naked and running around naked at all. And then I've known guys that are the kings of, you know, they could approach, they could do anything. But man, someone says, okay, get naked. They're like, fuck no, man. I'm not getting naked in front of nobody. right?
Yeah, which one's more rare? I think they're both pretty high for a lot of men, right? Approach anxiety is pretty high, and performance anxiety is pretty high as
Yeah,
well.
well, I mean, I just know from guys that I've worked with, yeah, lots of guys have performance anxiety. Lots of guys, right? It's not, nobody wants to talk about it. That is the big thing. It's like the unspoken secret, right? So
So how has COVID affected the film industry? Has it gotten less, or do people just shift to different areas?
no, I mean, as far as the at least European based here, right?
Hmm.
I would say. Yeah, there was like 2 months where things were 1.5, 2 months where things basically like shut down.
Hmm.
And then after that, it's like the porn industry in general is a renegade group, right?
Yeah, they're more risk, averse.
Yeah.
They're
So I mean,
tolerant. Yeah,
shortly everybody's like, fuck it, we're open, we're doing whatever we want. So
makes
the uh
sense.
the only big difference here has been travel restrictions.
Mm, okay.
So you don't have as many people traveling to different countries. So I'd say the business really, I mean, it's always been coalesced in Czech Republic, Budapest, but even more so now.
Okay. Right on. So
So
I have this tradition of going to AVN almost every year. Um, I've been making YouTube videos since 2011, and for some reason, YouTube just gives AVN videos a lot of views. That's why I go there. It's become kind of a uh, almost an annual tradition for me. And it's been a lot of fun meeting people. I've noticed that, like every year you see so many new female talents, but then when it comes to like male talents, it's always the same guys, and they're in the industry very long, right? Is it just
mhm.
so hard to find guys that can just perform under pressure? Is it just, is it why is that the case?
Well, the business has drastically changed from when I started. So, and not for the better. So now, I would say starting in it was about 2003 when you saw like Viagra start to become something that people started taking, right, in the
Mhm.
business.
I hear we're coming out with a new sex drug, Viagra. I want it. This is a revolution.
And then, now, I mean, I would say since at least the last 7 years now, you got a lot of these guys that are doing, injections. They're doing crazy shit. So
You're
it's
like,
it's a totally different time period. But when I started, you could either do it or you couldn't. And I'll be honest, it was like, man, I don't even know if it was 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000. I have seen so many guys fail miserably before my eyes, Mike. Like so many. So it's a real thing, right? Like it's one thing, and you really have to step back and look at it, right? Because you think about how many people in general, they take a girl home from the bar, they go, with you, they meet some girl at XS or this club, that club, they take a girl home and they can't perform. It's like you're home on a bed, nobody's around, nobody, like there should be no pressure at all, right?
right.
And guys struggle. So now you've got, you got 20 people standing around, you got the lighting crew smoking cigarettes, you got the cameraman, you got the makeup artist, you got everybody that wants to go home, everybody that's starting to get angry. Maybe the girl likes you, maybe she's pissed off with you, maybe she wants to go home. Like it's the pressure is just magnified by like 1,000, right? So guys just crack under the pressure.
Maybe that could be a business idea, a simulated difficult environment to, it's just like so instead of like a pickup boot camp, you have like, I don't know, fake camera crews running around pissed off and giving you extra pressure to see how you perform. That might be a
Then,
interesting
then you
idea
just have
for
a lot of guys who are just traumatized, I think. It would be like PTSD, but it's that was, I mean, well, you read the book. I mean, when I deal with men, everything that I teach them is just boots on the ground stuff that I learned, that if I didn't figure it out, I would have never gotten paid, right? Like it was sheer necessity. It's like you're sitting there, you're doing, you got to do a gangbang, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, man, you got to get your mind right. You have to get your mind right because it's 90, over 90% mental.
Makes
Like
sense.
unless you have some sort of physical ailment or some sort of medical condition, I
Hmm.
mean, man, your fucking dick works, especially if you're young. I mean, that
Yeah, I
fucking thing
agree.
points at the sky, man.
Yeah, and I would say, definitely in just from my experience, if it's a girl that I'm comfortable with, I've closed many times. She's been here at my place, and I know the drill. It's definitely a lot easier to keep it hard and get it up, as opposed to a girl where I haven't met, I have time constraints. Sometimes when we pull back to the condo, her friend is knocking at the door. I have a lock on my bedroom door. Sometimes
Hmm.
I have students where we pull back and their friends are being loud, and I agree, a lot of it is mental, and just having all these constraints can definitely affect your performance.
It's just about your ability to focus on what matters and get out of your head as fast as possible. That
Mhm.
is really one of the big keys. How can you stay in the moment? How can you stay present? And how can you basically create white noise between your ears?
So I've noticed a lot of the guys who are have longevity in the industry, they are all into fitness. All right. And something I advocate as well. So, obviously, not only do you look good and feel good, it gives you a boost in confidence. How much do you think fitness plays a part in just doing the best that you can and performing at an optimum level?
Well, I think it serves a lot of purposes, right? So I'm going to go through them. I mean, from a performance aspect, definitely like you're going to perform better, especially, when you can generate power from your hips, right? Because in fucking, that's where most of your power is coming from. So it's like, well, how much power can you generate from through your legs, through your hips to impact, obviously the woman. But more important than that, I think, is really when you're dealing with sexual shame, because that's a huge thing, right? Like, I can't tell you how many guys, they don't even want to get naked in front of a girl, right?
Mm,
And why don't they want to get naked in front of a girl? Because they're not confident in the way they look, right? It's the same thing like, I mean, because you have multiple layers of sexual shame. I mean, you can have it just based around your penis size, but, in addition, it can be just the fact that you just let yourself go, right? I mean, I've heard the stories from lots of women where, some guy will be fucking them and they have their shirt on because they don't even want to take their shirt off in bed. It's like,
mm.
well, okay, if you're at that level where you don't even want to take your shirt off, you think you really want to take your pants off? It's like it's all relative, right? So, I mean, in addition to obviously the level of cardio that you will have, right? So you'll be able to, obviously fuck a girl without being winded, without dying, without needing to, gasp for air. Um, because that all, I mean, that definitely plays into it. I can tell you from my own personal experience, especially back in the day, like I had really insane cardio, but I'd be fucking some girl like at a manic pace for like half hour, 40 minutes. And then like I would hit this wall where my heart rate would be just like, cause it literally was like sprinting. Right.
Yeah.
And I would just tell the director, I'm like, okay, time, like give me 5 minutes. Cause I just need to get my heart rate down, because when your heart rate was just up that high,
Yeah.
my dick would want to go down just because of my heart rate. So it's like as
Right.
soon as it was like, you think about
Fit.
boxing, right? I remember one time, it was like a short break between a scene, and just like a boxer, how they put the ice on the back of your neck? Someone just put a cold bottle of water on the back of my neck just so I could get my heart rate down. So I was like, okay, now I can get my dick hard again, right? So it all plays
Now,
a role.
now with technology, maybe you can wear a Fitbit and just monitor your heart rate. It's like, all right,
I
if I
never
stay
thought
below
about that.
150, I'm good. You
Yeah, what's the Fitbit say? Oh, I
know,
can go for another 20 minutes. All right,
They'll
let's
beep if you
go.
go above. Yeah, there's Strava. Maybe they could put an add-on for fucking. What do you think?
I never thought about that. That
Yeah,
would be
because
cool, actually.
right now they count your steps. How many miles you cycle on a bike. So I feel like,
How
especially
many
if you're
strokes? How many strokes did I do, Strava? What are we
Mhm.
at today?
You have to put it like somewhere not on your wrist, probably. But interesting. Yeah,
No doubt.
this is something I really harp on, and there are dating coaches who don't advocate fitness, and it just annoys me. There's certain dating coaches who really let themselves go. Going out drinking, not watching their diet, and they use this actually as a sales pitch, and it's like, oh, okay, well, Mike works out, so he's using he's using looks instead of game. But the way I see it is you want to, I mean, the girls are going to enjoy it more, right? It's definitely something that's a positive impact. And, you know, I feel like why not be the best version of yourself, get your fitness dialed in. It's going to help you with your confidence, but also performance as well. And the girls are going to enjoy it.
Well, 100%. I remember I was listening to one dating coach. He mentioned three things, and one of them really struck out to me. So he was talking about he had three things he called like the three pillars, and he said one was, personality. Then there's persona, which is more or less game. That's what he
Mhm.
was talking about. And then he talked about a third one, which I never really realized before, which was pre-selection. And I was like, oh, and he goes, usually people fall into one of the categories that they're really good at. And for me, it was always pre-selection. It was never, my game was never that great, right? But pre-selection I was really good at because I always stayed in shape, right?
Mhm.
So it's like girls would meet me and they'd be like, oh, wow, hey, like I'd go to the pool and they're like, they just look at you because you are in shape, right? So why wouldn't you use that to your advantage? I mean, I think like I understand the sales tactic where it's like, hey, look, I can look like a total slob, but I get girls. I mean, that's awesome. Like, it's great that your game is that tight, but I can't see why someone would want to not have every tool available to them to be the best that they can be.
The pre-selection is huge. I mean, a lot of people can talk, right? Everybody, a lot of people in the club can spit game and can start a conversation, right? But having both of those qualities, definitely narrowing it down by a huge margin. All right. So a lot of guys have fantasies of dating a porn star. Would you recommend this to most people or the average guy? I'm sure you've had your fair share of dating both people in the industry and also people outside. What's your preference and what's your opinion on both?
Well, okay, so let me break this down. I mean, there is one thing, and I've talked to some guys about this, right? Because I've had a lot of guys where they'll say to me, "Oh my God, like you're so lucky you fucked a porno girl, blah blah blah," right? Like they have it on this pedestal, like this porn girl must be the greatest sex ever. And I tell them, I said, they're no fucking different. Like really, when you break it down, like I've had the same quality sex with a civilian that I've had with a porno girl because the creator of that is actually the guy. It's not the woman. And I think a lot of guys really mess this up in their head because they think some girl's going to go all fucking basic instinct on them and tie them up. I'm like, dude, I don't know what Hollywood movies you're watching, but that's not reality, right? The reality is, if you were to look at every woman like they are a Ferrari, right?
Hmm.
Every woman's a Ferrari. Well, guess what? You can have a janitor get behind a Ferrari, or you can have Michael Schumacher. Which one's going to be able to drive the Ferrari like around Nuremberg track really fast?
The latter.
Exactly. And it's the same thing. Like every woman is capable of being that porn girl in bed, but it's up to you to push them there.
Do you feel like
And
they are more desensitized or they're more open to do stuff, or do you still feel like they don't
I mean,
ask as many dumb questions?
are they more open? Sure. Right? They will be more open, but that doesn't mean in their private lives that they want to do a bunch of crazy shit that they've done in a movie. So, that, and it depends what do you consider to be crazy. So, are they more open? Sure. But I've known lots of civilian girls that are just as open or pretty much, right? So it's really, I think the big piece of it is what I call bedroom leadership, right? Like it really is, well, how what's your frame like in the bedroom? Are you leading the interaction in the bedroom, or are you just like waiting for her to do something? Because most girls, and it's the same in dating. Like if you lead strongly, they'll follow if they
Mhm.
believe you know what the fuck you're doing, right?
Right.
So first they have to believe your frame, and they have to believe your experience, and they have to trust in you. And if they trust in you, then they're like, oh, okay, sure, right? Like they'll do almost anything.
Makes sense. Totally. But that's good to hear, right? I think that's good to hear from most guys, that just knowing that as long as you lead properly, the girl is down to do or be open minded to try a lot of new things.
Oh yeah, it a big part of it is that what do you make out of it, because most of them, you know, they're fearful of what you will think. And this was something actually I used to do a lot, which was funny. Is you know, for example, like girls in their periods, right?
Mhm.
Like I'd tell a girl like, I don't care if you're on your period, I want to fuck you. Like, it's not a
Mhm.
big deal, right? And they're like, oh no, 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 no. And no girl ever cares about being fucked on her period. She cares that you are going to care because some dude has freaked the fuck out before. And so I had this strategy. And what I would do, you know, because they say, no, 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 no. I said, look, I don't care. No, 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 no. I know guys care about, no, I don't care. And so I'd say, fuck it. And I'd throw them on the bed. And what I would do is I'd spread their legs open,
Mhm.
rip their panties off.
Mhm.
I would grab the little tail of the fucking tampon with my teeth.
Oh,
I would pull it out with my mouth,
uh-huh.
shake it like a dog, the little bloody fucking mouse that end up on the floor, and I
Yeah.
start eating them out. You know what they do? They go,
Oh,
I
shit.
guess it'll be there. After that, never I had a problem again. So it you have to show, right? You can't explain anything to a woman. You have to show them.
Right
First
on.
of all, you know, every aspect, right? So it is how do you show up? It's not, you know, oh baby, can you blah 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 blah. It's like, no, no, you go do, you know, calibrate. I always tell people, I say you got to do and then calibrate. But if you're just Mickey Mouse, like, oh, can I please, baby? Blah, blah, it's like, oh man, that turns a woman off in the bedroom like no tomorrow.
I haven't done what you've done. That's haven't done that yet.
Keep
Haven't
it in
gone
your
there
arsenal,
yet.
man.
What I
Never-
have done is dim the lights, go grab a brown towel, put it underneath, and I would say that's worked like 70% of the time. But yeah,
Yeah.
there are still girls where they're on their period and they're just like, fuck no, absolutely not. But
But
I'll
most
keep
of
that
them
in mind.
don't care if they know you don't care. You know,
There. So we both have jobs that are unconventional, right? And a
Mhm.
lot of times when I meet girls and they ask me what I do, I don't really tell them what I do, especially when I'm at the club. Like if I tell them, oh, I teach guys how to pick up girls or dating coach, I just get like a million stupid questions. Like, well, what if, you know, how do you pick me up? And I get in these loops that, you know, I just don't want to spend the time and energy trying to explain what I do. And every girl thinks that they're a dating coach. So I just tell girls I'm still an engineer, and it just saves me a lot of uh, energy from explaining everything I do. So, like, when you meet people, do you just tell them exactly what you do, kind of like take it or leave it? Or I don't know, how do you like, let's say
No,
you
I
meet a
straight
girl at
up
the
tell
club.
them.
Okay.
Straight up, straight up. And for that, it serves a couple purposes, right? Number one, you know, there's no country at this point that I've ever gone to, Mike, where I haven't been recognized.
Mhm.
I was in motherfucking bumfuck Ukraine, and these motherfuckers recognized me there. Okay, so there's no place I can go where at some point somebody's not going to recognize me. So that's
Mhm.
number one. Number two, it is a really good filter because whenever I've said it to a girl, you can read on their face in a microsecond what's going to go down, or at least
Mm.
you have a really good idea because they just can't hide it. You know,
Mhm.
they're thinking
Yeah.
like, I'm going to say accountant, maybe I'm going to say lawyer, maybe I'm going to say personal trainer.
Well,
Like
you're
they got
actually
a
all
million.
of them. You're all of them.
Yeah, I've played all. I've played all. I've even been a doctor before, Dr. Everhard. Yeah, so they're expecting anything else to come out of my mouth. So when I say professional porn actor, you can tell they're either, you know, there's that shock, and then
Mhm.
they're either quickly like there's that interested kind of look, like, oh,
Mhm.
really? Or they're just like, oh, really? Like they're just like scared off. And I'm like, okay, we were never meant to hang out anyways, because there's no point that they aren't gonna know pretty quickly who I am.
Makes
And I
sense.
actually
Yeah.
have a funny story. So you know the Avalon nightclub, right?
Yeah. The one in, I've been there a couple times. Yeah. LA.
Hollywood. So this was, oh God, what year was it? Probably 2014, maybe something like this. I go to this rave, right? And I meet this young girl. She was like, I think she was like 19 or 20. I don't know. She was young. And I meet her, and we're dancing, we're having a good time, we're partying. And you know, she asked me what I do, and I was like, oh, professional porn actor. She's like, no, really? And I'm there with my buddy Dan. So I yelled at my buddy Dan. I say, Dan, what do I do? And he yells back, he's like, professional porn actor. And she's like, oh, really? So we exchange numbers, and the next week, you know, we go out, right?
Mhm.
And so I take her to Avalon, we go out there, we're partying. And we're in the middle of the dance floor, you know, we're dancing, drinks, having a good time. This group of like 7 dudes walks by me. right? And literally they stop and they just go, it's just mouth open, Mike. They're just like, oh my God. And next thing they're up by me and they're go, you're fucking Eric Everett. And they want the selfies. They want the whole shit, right? And the girl's just like, what the fuck? But you know, she knows what I do, right? So it's
Yeah.
not like a shock. But this was the killer for me. So the guys, they're coming, they want the selfies, blah, blah. Then they turn to her. And literally this is word for word what they say. Okay. They go, do you know who this is? This is fucking Eric Everhard. He's one of the biggest porn stars alive. Have you seen his dick? His dick's like this big. Have you fucked him? You need to fuck him. I mean, dude, it was so over the top. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, and she laughed, of course, right?
Yeah.
And we did end up fucking that night, but it was just hysterical because if I had said, hey, you know what? I'm a lawyer or I'm this or I'm that,
Yeah.
it would have been a fucking train wreck. So I tell everybody.
Yeah, I think when you're at the level where getting girls is easy and having that having that filter, right? It's polarizing, right?
Yeah.
It saves a lot of time in a sense, right? So
It's a total time saver because like I said, you know, for me, it is almost like a built-in pre-selection because, you know, if they are super like freaked out because of the porno guy, well, they weren't the one for me anyways, right? Like that's just the way I look at it. And, you know, if they are interested, they're even more interested because they're like, oh, well, you know, obviously he must have some special qualities if he's a professional porn actor. So I you know, I think like anything, you gotta play to your strengths, basically, right? Like if you have any sort of quality, you should use it as much as possible.
how do you meet girls outside of work these days? Do you still do a lot of cold approach? Do you ever use
You
online
know,
dating?
what actually where I was meeting a lot of women here was these different business networking events actually. So those were really popular out here because you know, Czech Republic, like I've been living here now 5 years, and it's very cosmopolitan city. So you have a lot of different nationalities that have moved here. So the sort of expat culture is super big. And I mean from all sorts of countries. So like there's tons of Russians here, Ukrainians, Italians, Germans. It's so I would say from that perspective, I've had a lot of success at different networking events they run here.
Okay. I haven't really gone to Eastern Europe as much, but I've definitely heard a lot of good things. The only country I've been to is Croatia, but everybody said good things about Czech Republic. So
Yeah, I mean, actually, my plan is to move further east. My dream was always Ukraine. That is the best place ever.
you know, I know a dating coach who moved there. He started his own modeling agency and is just doing really well in Ukraine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. I mean, that's for sure. The prettiest girls I've ever seen are from that country, by far.
What's
By
stopping
far.
you from moving there right now?
Oh, it's on my 1 year plan. So call me a year from now, and we'll do drinks there.
Sounds good. Yeah, I haven't been to Ukraine. A couple of my buddies are in Kiev right now.
Hmm.
It's snowing like crazy, but based on their, Instagram and Snapchat stories, yeah, the quality of girls there is bar none. So
Yeah.
definitely put it
Yeah.
on my radar to visit.
It's just a different lifestyle, right? Like, and you'd have to, you either like that kind of lifestyle or you don't, because obviously, you know, it is very corrupt country and there's a lot more, you know, it's not that it's unsafe, but it just, things work differently than say the rest of Europe.
Let's talk about your book. So I binged this, read it in one setting, spent 4 hours, read every single page, binged it like a Netflix TV series. I just love how practical you are with the advice, right? You almost sound like an engineer in your previous career or something. It's just like the way you talk about things, very data driven. And I also like the fact that, a lot of the chapters, it's like you can skip to one chapter and learn just that chapter, or you can read it sequentially and just hammer out all the key steps and how actionable they are. You can take steps immediately to implement. And the first thing I read is that you mentioned that men go through great lengths to build an empire, make millions of dollars, build their status, but a lot of guys don't work on their sex game. And they could be dating a really hot model or really hot girlfriend, but their sex life just isn't that great. And a lot of times the girls end up cheating on them, behind their backs and things like that. Why do you think that, you know, a lot, and I agree with this. A lot of people aren't working on their sex game, and they're not, spending time to perfect it, or it's just even like awareness in general. I feel like it's pretty low. Why do you think that's the case?
You know, I think part of it is the fact that some guys just don't understand women at that level, right? Like, I mean, you and me have both been blessed that, we've seen a lot of things, right? So, I go into interactions with women. I have my eyes wide open. Like, I've seen the good because, there's tons of good about women. I've also seen how scandalous they can be. I've seen it all, right?
Mhm.
And if we were even to look at it sort of through the red pill lens, so to speak, right? Where
Mhm.
you've got, the duality of women's sexual strategies, right? Where you've got, that, quote unquote, alpha fucks beta bucks sort of thing, right? Like, guys don't really understand that that's, for women today, they have such choice. I mean, really more than ever, right? Like, now you've got the super equality, girls are making more money than like, a girl's hot, she's got all the choice in the world. And she doesn't, you could have money, you can have this as a guy. But if she's got her own money, she's just looking for the dick. She's looking for a companion. She's looking for a lot of other things, but she's not necessarily looking for support. She'd like it. I mean, I don't think any girl's going to turn away some guy with a yacht and a couple $1 million. But
Mhm.
even in those cases, I've known dudes with lots of money, lots of this, and the girl is still, banging some nobody that's given her good dick, on the side. So it happens all the time. And the one thing that I did really notice over the years, right, was if you could have a lot of other faults that you can cover up if you can really fuck the shit out of a woman. You can cover up a lot of faults, man. Like, they'll put up with a ton of shit from you. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but I mean, they will. Like, even when I look through my own lens, I'm like, God, I'm like, how did she put up with me? And I was like, oh, well, that's why. So, it is, if you're looking about from a strategy of dating and relationships, it's like, well, ultimately, women do want to have a good sex life. And the thing is it's such low hanging fruit. Like, this is what I don't understand, right? It's like, man, the competition is so soft out there. Like, there are so many guys. I'm not joking. Like, there are so many guys that can't last longer than a couple minutes, right? That either struggle with the performance, they struggle with bedroom leadership, they have no idea how to get a girl up. Like, I mean, the competition is so soft.
That's good. That's good. That means that if you just spent, 5% to work on this area, then you
Oh,
have
you could
significant
you could
chance to
you
grow.
could easily, especially, if the girl hasn't, been with like 100 dudes, you could easily be the top guy she's ever fucked. Easily.
Good to
If you
hear.
just had the right skill sets, I think it's very easy to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's everything is all relative to competition, and people need to understand that, right? And I made a video similar to this where, obviously I'm Asian, and there's a lot of Asian stereotypes when it comes to dating. And one of the stereotypes, like in media, we're not, I guess, quote unquote, the sexiest stereotype. We're kind of dorky, we're kind of nerdy, right? And a lot of guys think that that's a bad thing. It's like, oh, if we had the stereotype of being attractive, or if all Asian guys were attractive, and that would be good. And the way I believe it is that it's actually not the best. Like, if having the bar low for most Asian guys with less competition, that means if you're the only Asian guy who doesn't fit the stereotype, who actually works on your game, then you stand out above the rest. And any girl that has an Asian fetish, you'd be the one that would snatch her up. And so I think this is very similar analogy where, if everybody else is giving terrible lays and you're the only one that stands out, I think that definitely, it's just easier if, it's easier to improve. It's easier to like be different than everybody else. So.
Yeah, and like I said, it's such low hanging fruit. Like, you have so many guys that they're focused on so many other things, and it's like, well, if you are being fairly successful, or at least, you're having a modicum of success, right? It's like, well, what's one of the few things that's going to keep a girl coming around, right? Because I've known so many guys where, they can successfully get a woman, but they can't keep her. And that's one of the things too. It's like I've known of, because I've had so many girls and they'll tell me all their stories, right? And they'll say, yeah, no, the guy looked great. He was this, he was that, charming, went back to his place. He blew his load in 1 minute. And they were like, what the fuck, man? Like you had like all this stuff that was amazing about you. And, and if that's something that matters to the woman, she's like, I ain't calling him back. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's crazy how girls talk about their sex lives with other people. So
oh yeah.
so openly.
and it's funny too. I was one of my co-moderators on Clubhouse. We were talking about it. The difference between locker room talk and powder room talk, right? And she said to me, she goes, "Oh yeah," she goes, "We're all talking. Like the conversations are different, but we're all comparing. The guys that we sleep with, and what are they good at? How big, this, that. It's so men and women." We'll talk differently, but we're both still talking amongst our peer groups about, our sex lives and our significant others. So, whether you're good or whether you're bad, they're going to tell everybody.
Yeah, one of my experiences that really resonated with what you're saying is I met this girl. I always seem to go to XS, but I met this girl at XS. She's from Vancouver, BC. We ended up going on this trip to Southeast Asia, but it was long distance. So we kind of it was like a fuck buddy kind of thing. And then like a year later, she started dating this great guy. And I swear to God, I thought they were going to get married. And you know how like you know how girls, they post on social media with a guy and then all of a sudden like the guy's never on the social media. So then you're like, oh, what happened? Right.
Yeah.
They were dating for 3 years and the dude was tall, good looking, athletic, took her traveling all over the world. I'm like, I thought you were going to get married with this dude. What happened? And you could just tell her frustration. And basically he couldn't get it up. And there's all this sexual problems in the bedroom. And it's like, literally this guy checked the box in every other category except this one thing. And that was the reason why the relationship broke. So
yeah,
kind of sucks for him.
Yeah. But it's just reality, and I think, we're none of us are going to check every box. I think that's, but we're trying to check as many as we can, like I'm never going to be 6'5", right? I'm 5'10". So I gotta do the best that I can in every other arena. Right. But, you just do, you work with what you got.
Oral sex is one of the first chapters that you mentioned in your book. Now, one of the things you mentioned is you have to love it. How do you teach that?
Well, it's funny because if this is something, because I was dealing with one client around this, right? And, if you're not going to love it, it's almost like you're better off not doing it. And what I mean by that is you could cause yourself to have performance, dysfunction by doing something that's not going to turn you on. So for example, I was working with one client and he had met this girl and, they're making out, everything's going great. Right. And I mean, he's just, bam, he's got, glass cutter in his pants, they're ready to start, everything's going. And he felt obligated. And I use that word, obligated, to eat her pussy. He doesn't like it. So he's doing it for her. Well, what happens? Dick goes soft because he's not into it at all. Never got it back. Right. So you have to understand how doing something that is going to turn you off can affect you, right? And it's the other thing too, you have to look at, well, what is it about the event that you like or don't like? Because I had another client who he was kind of like on the fence about pussy eating before. He was like, whatever, like, and then I worked with him and I taught him all my techniques, and he took it to this girl that we will affectionately from now on call the Cougar, because he'd text me great stories, but he's like, fuck, man. He's like, your techniques fucking worked. She went ballistic. Like, she won't leave my fucking dick alone now. Right. And he learned to love it because he understood what I understand, that there's an immense power behind it. Right. So it's like, well, what are you falling in love with? Because the ability to give a girl an orgasm literally at will, that's real power. So there becomes an attraction to that. So it may not be that you necessarily are all about eating pussy, but you love having that power over a woman. And that becomes what's intoxicating. Right. Because like I said, he learned quickly. He's like, fuck, man. He goes, this girl will do anything that I want because I can get her off like that. Right. So you have to really step back and say, okay, well, what is it about this that I like or don't like? And kind of break it apart from there. And if you were to look at it and say, okay, well, this is going to super turn me off, then I would tell people, I'd say, well, then avoid it, because you don't want to cause yourself any other performance related issues because of it. Right. So you gotta go in knowing more about yourself and not necessarily following into what society is going to tell you. You got to go follow more what your dick is telling you.
Okay. So if you feel like you can work with it and learn to love it, try it. But if you're just
100%.
absolutely against it, then
Well, because we've all probably had this at some point, right? Like, when you've gotten the blowjob from the girl that she hates sucking dick, but she's doing it just for you, and
Yeah.
no offense, but I mean, it looks like some sort of child laborer in China putting together an iPhone, right? It's like,
Yeah, I had a
you're just like,
girl. I had a girl like make me put on a condom to like give me a head, and I was just like, dude, what the
yeah,
hell?
exactly. You're like, well, this is now the biggest turn off ever. Like, you turned something that could have been amazing, but because I've seen, I mean, I've done porno for 23 years, and you see the girl that it's literally like she's trying to suck it without sucking it. It's like, sweetheart, like, I can see that you literally look like this is the worst thing ever that's happened to you. Like, it'd be better off if you just didn't do it, right? So you have to look at it from that standpoint too, because even as guys, like, I've had girls that they suck at head so much that I'm like, man, like, let's just fuck. Like, I don't even want to deal with this. So if you're going to show up and do the same thing to a woman, she's going to be like, oh man, well, this guy fucking hates this. Like, it's almost worse than you just not doing it and staying passionate in the moment you start fucking. Like, at least the passion's not leaving the interaction. The connection's not leaving the interaction. But if you go from, wow, this is hot and heavy, you're like, we got stuff going on, we're turned on, to, okay, now you look like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Like, her attraction is just going to go down the toilet instantly. And then, also you're opening up the space where she can feel that she is unattractive, and you don't want that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like a lot of times girls, the way they act with sex in front of you, a lot of it is probably driven by past experiences, and you don't know, they behave really weird, and you don't know what the fuck happened in the past.
100%, 100%. It's so, it's one of the things that I wrote about in the book too. Like, you can't be disgusted by anything or make a big deal out of anything, because that becomes real traumatic for girls. And they are so, it's funny because there is something about, once we're naked, it's like all the armor's off, right? So it's like she can have on the bitch shield, same thing with the guy. He's got the car, he's got the watches, he's got the money, whatever, right? As soon as you get all your clothes off, all that fucking shit's out the window, right? So it's the most raw, authentic experience. So, from that perspective, like, everybody feels vulnerable. So it's like, the girl has, like I said, that's why, it's like there's some little period blood. The girl freaks out like, oh my God, he's going to judge me, or this or that. Or, if you're doing anal sex and there's like a little bit of a mess. Oh, I mean, the girls are mortified, right? And you are the one in control of how are they going to really take the act, right? So you can be either like, no big deal, like, let's keep fucking, like, all is good, right? Or you can be that guy that's like, oh God, ew, I gotta wash off everything. Oh, I'm disgusted. She's never fucking another dude ever for the rest of her life after that, right?
Well, yeah, especially anal, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, trust me. I mean, in my time in the business, I've actually seen it go both ways, right? So I learned really early on, because I remember many times you'd have some guy that wasn't professional, some new young kid, he gets shit on a scene, and he literally loses his mind, right? And you just watch how, because the girl's already mortified, like, it's like, well, she just shit on some guy, like, she's already embarrassed as hell. But now you go into this, making the vomiting sounds and doing all this stuff. It's like, man, she will never want to do anal ever again in her life. And you have to realize that the meaning that they're going to make of the act is all under your control in that moment. So you need to keep it together no matter what. Yeah, maybe it is disgusting. Hey, fucking keep it together, buddy.
Don't say anything. Yeah.
Stoicism is there for a reason. And because what is it that you want to happen? Do you want the act to continue, or do you really want it to all end and have a miserable night? Because the power is yours right in that moment. So, and literally, like, how you show up is what they're going to believe. Like, if you're like, oh yeah, no fucking big deal, wipe it off, 2 seconds later you're back fucking, like, she's forgot about it. She's like, oh, okay, he doesn't care.
Yeah, it's kind of like in set when you make a bad joke or you say something inappropriate, instead of just highlighting on the fact that you bomb the joke, just go on to the next subject. Continue.
Yeah, just keep moving.
One question. So back to the oral sex thing.
Mhm.
Obviously every girl's different. I have a sensitive nose. Okay, so would you say like kind of ease onto girls that have better hygiene, or do you?
Well, here's the interesting thing that you'll notice too with that, right? It's not even. Well, let me phrase this properly. It's not always hygiene related. Like, you have, a big part of it is pheromone related. So, and this is something that you start to come across, right? Like, and there's basic 3 keys when I think about what is sexual satisfaction, right? I broke it down into 3 things. You got sexual alignment, you have sexual compatibility, and you have sexual chemistry, right? And those to me are the 3 parts to sexual satisfaction. And when you're talking about smells and stuff like that, that's sexual chemistry. So because I've been around way too many pussies, Mike. So you'll have ones that like, it's not a hygiene issue. It's just how their body smells issue. And that is just, each girl is different. So that is part of the whole chemistry that either turns you on or turns you off. Like, I've been with some girls that, man, I mean, stunners, right? And the smell, it's not like it's bad, but I'm like, yeah, this ain't, doesn't turn me on. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to turn another guy on. So it's all also individual. It's the same thing. Like, if we even look at it from skin pH levels, right? Like, if you have some perfume that you really like women to have, you give it to girl 1, she sprays it on, it ends up smelling different on her than the same perfume on girl number 2. And it's just because how it interacts with their skin chemicals, right? So pussies are the same thing. I think, obviously they're, girls need to take care of themselves, but a big part of it is just pheromone based, and just, each girl is going to have a little different smell. Some are, pleasant to my nose, others are not, or, and it's not based on infections or hygiene or anything. It's just innate, and so, if you have a woman and that doesn't match up, the way I look at it, she's not the one for you.
Yeah, it's just crazy how some people you naturally align with, and just sex is by default better. You mentioned the lock and the key theory in your book, basically the anatomy of the male versus the female. Sometimes it just aligns in a way that, it's pleasurable for both parties. Obviously the guy has different sizes, but also you mentioned that girls have different anatomies on the inside, and the pairing of that, right? The texture of the vagina and the smoothness and all that. What would you say, like, for a guy, like, what's the number of women they should be with to kind of get an overall idea of just the variety of, I guess, if you kind of understand my question.
Yeah, to have a good lay of the land.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think of what would be the lowest number that would be a good one. I'd say you probably would need to come across at least 50. At least. I mean, 100 would be good. But if you had 50, you'd probably have a pretty good understanding. But you see, here's the problem that comes with that too, though, right? Is that some of the things that I talk about, like if you're using condoms, you're never going to sense, right? Like you can't you can't tell that a girl's, like when I talk about the four pussies, right? Like
Yeah.
the difference between velvety and granular, that you're fucking a girl with a condom, you are doing that. I mean, and I don't take away, I'm not like I'm telling guys like, oh, you need to just go bareback, everything known to man.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right?
Yeah.
But it's just, you do have to understand that when you're having sex with a condom, you are exactly that, having sex with a condom. And the girl is simply a conduit for making that condom feel better. But all you're feeling is the inside of the condom. So
Okay.
that you need to think about that first of all when it comes to the type of condom that you're using. I think so many guys out there, they just go to the drugstore and grab whatever CVS or Walgreens has, which is the worst decision you could ever make. On top of that, the fact that marketing has sold guys a poor bill of goods. So every guy out there is going out to buy Magnums because everyone wants to seem like they have the big dick or whatever. And it's like, Magnums are the worst fucking condoms you could ever use. Those things are like fucking trash bags for your dicks. They're the worst.
It's a great marketing strategy.
But horrible, man. Horrible. I mean, we used to, all the porn sets back in the day would have those too, because they were cheap and they obviously could fit everybody. And I learned, it was early on in my career. I was lucky. I was talking with the TT boy, and he filled me in. He's like, no, man, I bring my own condoms to set all the time. I was like, oh, and I quickly figured out why. Because it's like, well, I mean, if you go to a high end store, you get some really high end shit. Like I would always have condoms with me. I could do anything. I could fuck any situation, no problem. And other guys, they'd be using the trash bags that show up on set, and suddenly the guys are struggling to get wood. They're struggling for this, struggling for that. And they're like, man, I can't work with these condoms. And I'm like, it's because you're using cheap, shitty condoms. So, if you are using condoms all the time, spend the money, get something that feels good, get something that you can work with really well. Don't just grab whatever because it's cheap and on sale at CVS, because they are not all created equal, not even close.
Yeah, you have a whole chapter on condoms. And then with the power of internet, I probably just that would be a good source. Just buy it online, get it shipped to your house.
Yeah. But yeah, to bring it back to your point with just talking about the different pussies, I would say you at least 50. I mean, I think if there was 100, you would have come across probably most different types, right? Or at least had an experience of them, because the two extremes that I talk about, which is granular or velvety, I mean, those are the furthest extremes, and you will come across them. But it's, most girls end up being some combination more in the middle. They're either more towards velvety, they're more towards granular, some are more tight, some are more loose. I mean, in my career, I think I came across 2 girls I could not penetrate, like physically at all.
That's pretty low.
Yeah, but I mean, to not be able to like
At
zero
all.
penetration, like it was like, I mean, I don't know what dick could fit in there. I was like, how are babies going to come out of there, right? So you can end up with all sorts of extremes, right? And then
It
of
could be
course,
too big too, right? I guess a lot of guys don't think about that, right? So I'm sure
yeah,
there's like a right pussy for every penis out there.
exactly. So, and that's what I mean when I talk about the whole lock and key thing. It's like a lot of times people will have amazing sex with some girl and they think, oh, it's like, well, we had this magical chemistry, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it was probably you had proper alignment. Because, and I think you read about it in the one chapter, the first time I came across this aspect, I was doing a scene with 2 girls, and, I put them both in doggy, and I started fucking one and then fucking the other. And literally I started fucking the first girl. It was like 5 strokes, Mike. 5 strokes. And I was like, whoa, fuck. Right. Like, I'm like ready to come. I'm like, Jesus. Right. And immediately, no break, I started fucking girl number 2. I could have fucked her for an hour. And I didn't, at the time, I was like, oh, I must have just like, got it together in that, 20 seconds between girls. And so I fuck the other girl. I go back to the first girl again, 5 strokes. And then I was like, okay, something fundamentally is very different here. And, as I went through girl after girl and started breaking it down, I was like, okay, what are the qualities that I'm experiencing, and that's where I was like, okay, it's a type of texture. It is a type of how tight, because you can have too tight and that doesn't feel good. You can have too loose. That doesn't, like, it really is this personal alignment for you. And when you meet that girl, then you're just like, Jesus Christ, like your pussy's like fucking magic. And that is very attractive.
Yeah, with all those varieties, you have to and this is something that I feel like guys with low late counts, they need to up their late count to get a better understanding. And I get this all the time. It's like one guy would be interested in signing up for a boot camp, and then like, oh, I can't sign up for a boot camp. I met this crush that we've gone on 3 dates and we haven't even had sex, but she's somehow the one, And it's just like for guys who have been with over, 3 figs in terms of girl lay count, it's just like a lot of times those you're not gonna know that chemistry until till afterwards. And even so, it's because there's so much variety. The odds are she's probably not the best fit, or you have to go through a decent amount just to even get an idea of what you
Yeah.
like.
And then there's two different aspects, right? And so it's sort of like Pandora's box in the sense that I think guys should know what they like. I really do. Like that's why I'm a proponent of, you should have a big enough lay count that you fundamentally understand what it is you like. But I don't think you should go down the rabbit hole of, because it's an endless rabbit hole, as you and me both know, right? Like it becomes like drugs, and you're just like one girl, one girl, one girl. It's like there's no, I've told you guys, I'm like, there's, whatever the problem is, like inside of yourself, there's no amount of girls you're ever going to be able to fuck to heal that wound. Like there is no amount, right? It could be 5,000, it could be 10,000. So, that's something you got to work on about yourself. But you should have enough of a sample size that you understand, okay, this type of vagina is what works for me. This feels good. This is the kind of sex that I like, because then at least you're happy. And then you're not, if you decide to have a relationship with a woman, then there's no
What
reason to
if,
start
right?
looking around, right? Like there's no like what ifs, like, well, what if that girl's better? It's like, well, what you have is good. And I think a big problem that guys end up in is because they don't have enough experience. They just don't know when they have something good, right? It's
Yes,
like,
you get married from your first high school sweetheart, or get married when you're 18. How would you know, right? It's just sample
oh
size too
yeah,
low.
like I remember when I lost my virginity, I thought it was amazing. I look back now and I said, fuck, that was horrible, right? So it's like you gotta have the at least the knowledge to understand that hey, what I have is good or it's not. And also you need to understand what can be worked on and what can't be. Because I hate, you see this all the time, all these PhD masters of sex, blah blah blah, and they all say the fucking same thing, and it drives me bonkers because they always say, well, you just need more communication. They all say the same thing: more communication, more communication. Communicate with your partner. Well, guess what? Communicating with my partner is not going to fix the wrong size pussy, the wrong size dick, the wrong shape of the jaw structure, the wrong sharpness of the teeth. It's not fixing any of that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So you can't fix biology, right? Biology, it works or it doesn't. Now, skill sets, in addition, that can be massaged, right? Like you can teach somebody, hey, do X, Y, Z. But it's just like you can teach me how to shoot a basketball better. You cannot teach me to be 6'6". Doesn't work, right? And it's the same thing in the bedroom. So you have to see, hey, does me and her line up, or do we have good sexual alignment to begin with? If so, then there are things that can be, worked on, things that can be massaged. But if you don't have that alignment, like if it's just bad alignment, for me, I ended up in a relationship where I was with a woman for quite a long time. And, this was before I really understood sexual alignment. And I'm like, God, like, because everything, like she checked all the boxes except the sex was horrible. And it was a biological thing. It wasn't a skill set thing. It was just biology, right? Like her pussy hurt. So it's like, when it's painful, you don't really want to fuck that much, do you? You're just like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess I'll do it today, sweetheart. But you're not like, oh yeah, I want to fuck the shit out of you.
I wonder if like current technology, you could do like a 3D printing sensor thing. You like put it around your penis, and I don't know, stick it inside your partner and map out the pressure points. Is that even? I don't know. I feel like
I
that
don't
would
know.
be.
Now you're
It's
getting
a $1 trillion
getting-
industry, right? Sexual
now the
alignment
engineer is coming
map.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Think about it. It's a new project. If you come up with a new technology, I'll be your business partner. Have you ever had a crush on a girl before having sex with them to test out sexual compatibility, or you're just like, we gotta have sex first before I even think about dating you or anything serious?
Usually, for me, the sex is important. So usually we're having sex pretty quickly.
Mhm.
To me, that's a determining factor as to whether we're going to be dating or not. It's never gone the other way around, at least for me, because like I said, if that alignment's not there, I know it's never going to work. Like, I know fundamentally there's no amount of we get along, there's no amount of I have a good personality, she has a good personality. Like, it's not going to make up for that sex if that is off.
I agree. It's
So
better to
there's
start
just-
off from things that you can't change and then work on towards things that you can fix rather than the
Yeah, exactly. Because, like I said, if you have that sexual alignment and that all works, now okay, well, now we can start working on, sexual compatibility, right? We can work on that, because when I view sexual compatibility, it's like, well, okay, do our values, do our desires, do the things that we want to do those line up, right? So, it could be like, hey, maybe you like anal sex, maybe she doesn't. Okay, well, we're missing a little bit on the sexual compatibility. Maybe she likes toys, you don't, right? Like, so when I look at compatibility, it's like, well, what are you into? What is she into? Does that align? But sexual alignment, that's just biology. And so that's, well, is her pussy going to be the right fit for you? Is your dick going to be the right fit for her? Because it works the same way with girls too, right? Like, I've had this discussion with some women, and when they start to think about it, they're actually like, oh my God, you're fucking right. Because I'll say, like, look, I've seen all the fucking dicks possible out there now in my, 23 years career. So I break it down for the girls. I said, of those types, I'm sure you sat on a couple that just the dick itself, regardless of the skill, just the dick itself that felt better. And I guarantee you, if then you found other guys with that same criteria, just the dick by itself would feel better than other ones. And they're like, well, yeah. When I had this type, it just felt better because it's just the alignment issue, right? So you've got alignment, you've got skill set, all those things come together, but you got to understand that they are all different pieces of the puzzle that you need to put in place.
Another business opportunity with future of DNA splicing. Maybe you can map out the girl and just do like stem cell grafting to change the
CRISPR
curvature.
girls. CRISPR girls.
You follow Kathy Woods and all her genome biology tech companies. But yeah, that's exactly.
No, but I should. Yeah, CRISPR's
DNA
yeah.
editing. What are some products every guy should have in their bedroom to enhance the sexual experience for when a lady friend is over?
Well, I mean, two of the big ones I would think, if you ever, especially if you're gonna do anal or whatever with a girl, high quality silicone lube is number one. It's funny that so many times, and even in porno, which I never understood, because every actor will tell you the same thing. Producers will buy this fucking cheap shit, and all us actors were like, why are you buying that stuff? It's fucking horrible. And water-based lubes are the worst thing you could ever get.
Let me see what I got. Just so you can critique it.
Oh man, do I have to upgrade your supply?
I think it might be water-based. Shit.
Oh,
Fuck. Oh, it's water-based.
oh.
No.
Which brand is it? Which
It's
one we got
called
there?
Uranus.
Oh yeah, water.
All right,
Throw that stuff in the garbage.
Throw it out in the garbage. All right. Mentally noted.
Yeah, no, because the problem is at their base, they're made with sugars, right? And so they quickly get dry and they get sticky and they get tacky. And so what ends up happening once they start to dry out is you start sticking to the person, And it's just not a fun experience, right? And that's how, you irritate buttholes, you irritate everything. Your skin starts sticking to the woman. So every time that you start pulling away, it starts like tearing your skin. It's just an uncomfortable feeling. And, you get yourself a really good high grade silicone lube. It's, I mean, they're slick as a motherfucker. It's, you never end up with any of that tacky feeling, no stickiness, nothing. So more expensive, but definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, it's worth the cost. I mean, it's like how much
Yeah.
how much anal does the average guy have?
Yeah, and then the only other thing, like if I was thinking like what would I have in my bed, another good thing is just to have a packet of baby wipes, just to, from the fact that you never want a woman, you don't want her mind to wander about anything, right? So, if there is anything, any sort of mess of any kind, right? And it could be, maybe she's a little bit on her period, she's this, she's that, who knows, right? But if you have that, it's like you can wipe something, throw the baby wipe on the floor, right back to fucking. Like, you don't even need to worry about it, because the last thing you want is somebody where they run off to the bathroom, then they're in the bathroom for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, right? It's like, it's just a mood killer for everybody all around. It's like, never let the heat leave the interaction, right? It's like, if you've got the heat there, don't let it die, right? Like, stoke that fire, and so if you have that stuff, someone they got dirty hands, they got this, they got that, hey, wipe, go, we're back in the action. Just, you never want to let a woman's mind drift away, because it will, and then she'll start thinking about herself, then she'll start getting insecure, and it's a snowball effect, and you just want to cut that off from even ever happening.
Now I have baby wipes in the bathroom. You recommend both locations, one kind of in the bedside counter and
Oh yeah,
one.
I would just have
Okay.
it beside the bed, simply because, it, and because we've all seen this so many times, right? It's like, for women, Newtonian time for men is not Newtonian time for women. So if a guy says, yeah, I'll be 2 minutes, he literally means 2 minutes.
Yeah.
A girl says 2 minutes, like, she's doing her hair, it's 30 minutes later, right? And you're like, what universe are we on here where 2 minutes equals 30 minutes? And that'll happen in the bathroom too. It's like, some girls like, oh, I just need to go to the bathroom, wash my hands, blah, blah, blah. It's like, she'll be in there fucking 30 minutes fixing whatever. And it's like, oh man, like,
It's also a good thing when girls tell you I gotta go to the bathroom, but like before things really escalate. That's, at least for me, it's been a good thing, because it means she's kind of prepping herself.
Yeah.
For sex.
But as you know, like, they will go in the bathroom to prep themselves beforehand, but they'll be in there, 20, 30, they're in there for a while, right? Especially if she's she's a quality woman who really wants to make sure that everything's like on point, like they're, so, in the middle of the act, you don't want her leaving, right? So if you can have stuff where she's not leaving in the middle of the act, it's just better, because she could be gone for 30 minutes and it's just a buzzkill.
I think this is where having distractions is always good. I always have, I always tell all my students, have like a TV in their bedroom, have some ambient movie, I don't know, some nature video, whatever, in the background, some music, keeps the girls from being too conscious and in their head. All the places you've worked and gone out and partied to meet women, what has been your favorite cities and why?
Ooh, favorite cities. I would say, well, I'd say two places. I mean, I definitely, I love Kiev. I just think, I think the women are just gorgeous there, and and it's for me, a very fun culture, very welcoming. Everybody likes to party. Everybody likes to have a good time. Like, Russians, Ukrainians, they just party like crazy. So I would definitely say that. And then, what city has a fondness, like fond memories that I have of, is Montreal. We used to go there back in the day. We used to shoot movies, and fuck, man, if those Montreal girls weren't just crazy, I mean, crazy in a good way, but they were all like insane. So when I think back to just crazy sexual antics and just things that went down, yeah, Montreal, the girls there were just insane in a good way. So
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Montreal. I haven't personally been myself, only been to Toronto and Vancouver. But can you get by okay with just English, or like?
oh yeah, yeah. In Montreal on the island, no problem. What's weird And this was actually funny, right? Because, you know, I'm Canadian. And
Mhm.
I remember, you know, I first went to Montreal in 2001. And then I would go back later in 2005, 2006. So those were the years that I was going there and producing movies. But we would get some of these just gorgeous girls that would show up, right? And they were all like part-time strippers. But the ones that came from outside Montreal, like literally, I can't tell you, like there was a number of girls that I worked with that could not speak a fucking word of English. And it was the exact opposite to my experience, right? So because like I'm from the western part of the country, and there they make you take French mandatory 3 years in school. Well, they do English exactly for these people in Quebec too, right? And both sides, because the country's so big, it's like,
Mhm.
you know, for me being way out in Alberta, it's like you take your 3 years, you never learn, you never use it again, and you just forget it. And these girls out here in Quebec, you know, they took their English for 3 years, never used it, forgot it. So I remember being on set with some of these girls, and like literally, like they have no English. I have like
No
barely any
French.
usable French, and we're trying to talk to each other. It was funny, but no, in Montreal is like completely bilingual. It's easy, easy. These were all girls that were coming from like small towns in Quebec, and then they would come to the big city to work. So
Yeah, I like girls from small towns. They're just less jaded and it's more. I don't know. There's something about girls from small towns that somehow I like that
you know,
aspect.
I'm sure you get a lot of them from coming into Vegas because you know it's like so many people. Like what I always loved about Vegas, and I'm sure you can attest to this since you live there. It was my favorite place to party because nobody was ever from there. Like every time you'd go out, like it would be people from, you know, they're from Florida, they're from South Dakota, they're from even the people from LA were nicer because they left their baggage in LA. It's like, oh yeah, I'm from LA, but I'm in Vegas for the weekend, and suddenly it's like, you know, they're less stuck up, and just everybody's out there just to have a good time rather than like, this is the club I go to every weekend, and this is where I'm seen. Like, so I
Yeah,
found
everybody's
the
new, right? You don't have your
attitudes are
same
way
crew.
better in Vegas.
Right on. What about so these are more like northern countries. What are your thoughts on like Latin America and Asia, or do you not go to those places as
I've
much?
never been there. I've been to Latin America. Like I was in Brazil, working
Mhm.
there in Brazil. I mean, Brazil was fabulous. I mean, Brazil was definitely the Latin girls there are crazy, right? But in a good way, crazy. Um, so that was really my experience of Latin America. I also was in Chile, but Chile the the women weren't nearly as crazy like the Brazilians. I found the Brazilians to be way more, you know, Brazilian.
Nice. Yeah, I've been to Brazil. I've been to Rio for a week, but I've heard good things about Sao Paulo, so that's also on a bucket
Yeah,
list.
I was in both. I was in both. Of course, Sao Paulo when I was there. I mean, I got crazy stories about Sao Paulo. We can go into some time, but um, you know, I mean, obviously we were working. We were having girls that came from Rio and from Sao Paulo and came everywhere. Um, so the negative to Sao Paulo was it was just like a, you know, big gigantic, you know, sort of dirty, you know, city, right? Like it
Mhm.
was, and I still think to this day probably the biggest city I've ever been in. Like it's fucking massive. You know, you fly in, it's just concrete as far as the eye can see. So it was definitely no Rio from a beauty perspective because Rio was just like, oh man, fabulous. But yeah, girls were very nice, very nice. You know.
Very cool. Yeah, I had a student of mine. He's almost 50, Asian. Apparently, there's a lot of Asians down there, and he was getting like 150 matches on Tinder for every boost. So, uh,
Wow.
definitely down to check it out in the future. So, well, good. So that's, I guess, all the questions I have for you. Thanks for staying overtime for this.
Oh,
It's
no problem, man.
been a real pleasure. Now, you also do personal coaching as well. So, how does somebody reach out to you if they're interested in coaching or whatever other services?
Yeah, so they can go to my website, www.ericeverhard.com, or they can email me at eric@ericeverhard.com. And, you know, also if they go to the website there, they can download 3 free chapters of the book. so that they can read through it and get a sense about what I'm all about, my philosophies and my way of coaching. So
Great. And I'm also going to link the book on Amazon in the description below. A lot of good stuff, tons of techniques for different positions, supplements, what condoms to get, the male or the female anatomy, conquering performance anxiety, how to last longer. Basically, this book has everything that pretty much 99% of males have questions for. This book contains all the answers to them. So thanks again for doing this interview. And we definitely got to hang out when either you're back in Vegas or I'm in Eastern Europe.
100%.
Cool. Anything else to add?
That's it. Just, I hope your audience loves the book and gets a lot of information out of it.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Thanks.